It started as a sunny, uneventful afternoon. The kind of day where the sidewalks shimmer under the noon sun, and quiet streets whisper promises of safety. In that stillness, an 8-year-old girl named Nia Bradley pedaled her pastel pink bicycle down a freshly swept lane in the suburbs of Brookvale Heights. Her helmet, dotted with little seashells, glowed under the sunlight. In the basket at the front of her bike were a few plastic toys, a water bottle, and a rolled-up third-grade math book held shut with a purple rubber band. She wore denim shorts, a light violet t-shirt, and the kind of innocence only a child could carry without knowing it. Her black hair was braided into 2 neat pigtails by her mother that morning, swaying as she hummed a soft tune learned in music class. Her little world stretched only as far as the familiar blocks of her neighborhood, and her only crime that day was laughing too loudly while being young, free, and black. A single shout broke the calm. "Shut up, monkey, before I shoot again." The voice didn't come from a neighbor or a stranger. It came from Officer Carter Vaughn, who had stopped his patrol car halfway down the block after seeing Nia ride by. No warning, no sirens. Just a finger on the trigger and a target he had already decided needed no justification. Nia hit the brakes, her feet not quite reaching the ground. Her big brown eyes turned toward the source of the voice just in time to see the gun in Carter's hand. Before her mind could make sense of it, before she could think of running or crying, the bullet tore through the air and struck her right knee. The bang cracked through the neighborhood. Birds scattered. A nearby radio went silent, and every petal on every flower pot seemed to hold its breath. Nia collapsed against the curb. Her hands scraped the pavement, and her face twisted not in pain, not yet but in the paralyzing confusion of a child trying to understand why her world had just shattered. Blood poured freely down her leg, soaking her shorts, her shoes, the pavement beneath her. She didn't scream. Her mouth opened, but no sound came. Her helmet flew off her head and rolled to a stop at Carter's feet. He didn't bend down. He didn't check if she was alive. He stomped on the helmet, crushing the plastic with his boot. "You're not a child," he muttered. "You don't deserve protection." Tears finally slipped from Nia's eyes. Not loud sobs, but fragile whimpers. Her hands rose to cover her ears, trying to block out the sound of the shot still ringing in her head. She didn't reach for her knee. She didn't call for help. She just trembled. Officer Carter stood still, his face unreadable. No call to dispatch. No first aid. No concern. Just a man with a gun who had decided a little black girl was dangerous because she was alive. A few feet away, her backpack had been knocked over in the chaos. He walked to it, kicked it once, and crouched beside the scattered contents. A juice box, a crumpled piece of paper, a photograph. He picked up the photo. It was Nia with her father, Judge Malcolm Bradley, wearing his robe, standing behind a courtroom bench. Carter stared at the photo, lips curling into a mocking smirk. He held the photo in front of Nia. "This your daddy," he said. "He think his little robe gonna save you." Nia didn't respond. She could barely breathe. Her lips quivered. "My daddy says I should always be respectful." Carter laughed. Cold. Joyless. "Good. At least he taught you something." He dropped the photo and the blood pooling beside her and walked back to his patrol car. No sit-ins. No backup. No rush. Just a slow drive away, leaving behind a broken helmet, a bleeding child, and a silence so thick it could swallow the truth whole. But someone else had been watching. Behind a rusted dumpster at the corner of the street sat Leonard Leo Price, a former Army medic, now homeless, wrapped in a threadbare coat and hunched over a cracked phone. He had seen the whole thing. He had recorded the whole thing. His hands didn't shake as he hit save. Leo knew better than to intervene. A black man running toward a gunshot scene? He'd be the second victim. But he had been a medic in Iraq. He had patched up wounds that looked like Nia's. And now he had a choice. Keep the footage or make the world see what it always tries to ignore. The officer didn't know he'd been filmed. As he drove away, he spoke into his radio with a voice as calm as a grocery list. Minor black suspect. Sharp object. Secured. Awaiting scene processing. But Leo had captured the truth. No sharp object. No threat. Just a child with a purple marker in her backpack. The hospital listed her as Jane Doe. No parent notified. No name given. Her ID had been erased before she even arrived. The doctor noted trauma. The nurse whispered, "Why isn't she speaking?" Nia didn't answer. She didn't ask for her mother. She didn't call for her father. She whispered only one sentence. "I was loud. I shouldn't have been loud." Later, the intake form was updated. Someone had crossed out the guardian field and scrawled in a shaky hand, "Don't tell Dad. I got shot because I was bad." When Judge Malcolm Bradley found out, it wasn't from the hospital. It wasn't from the police. It was from a journalist named Sierra Lang, who had tracked Nia's name down through hospital records and knew something didn't add up. Malcolm didn't yell. He didn't storm into the station. He sat at his desk and read the incident report. It didn't mention a child. It didn't mention a bullet. It listed the object recovered at the scene as a potentially sharp implement. It was a purple marker, the kind his daughter used in every school project. And then he found the edit log, a hidden access entry. Someone had gone into the system and deleted her name. Changed the code from victim to suspect. Changed child to minor. Changed gunshot wound to lower limb abrasion. Malcolm printed it all. Every falsified word. At the hospital, Nia was silent. Her leg would take months to heal. Her trust would take longer. In the meantime, Leo uploaded the video. He didn't add music. No edits. No hashtags. Just the raw footage. The world exploded. She screamed like an animal. The blood looked kind of beautiful. That was the leaked message Carter Vaughn had sent to his private cop group chat. The rage swept across cities. But Marcus didn't speak publicly. He didn't call for protests. He called for a hearing, not just to punish one cop, but to examine the entire system. At that hearing, Nia entered with a wooden crutch. No statement. No lawyer. Just her. She looked at the microphone, then slowly lifted her pant leg. The scar was raw, deep, still healing. She said, "This is my speech." Then she left. No one clapped. No one cheered. Because no one felt worthy of applause. The system cracked. Carter Vaughn stood trial. Not as a hero. Not as a rogue. As a criminal. And Judge Bradley, not wearing his robe, not standing behind a bench, but as a father, told the courtroom, "My daughter was not a victim of a bullet. She was a victim of a system trained to see her as a threat." The court fell silent, not in fear, but in shame. In the months that followed, more records surfaced, more names, more erased children. And as their scars surfaced through testimony, through photos, through the quiet raising of a pant leg, the truth could no longer be buried. Nia didn't become an activist. She didn't give interviews. She went back to school, limping at first, then walking taller. Her scar was never hidden. She didn't speak of it often, but when asked, she simply pointed and said, "They saw this and thought it meant danger. But now they see me." And in the halls of a school renamed in her honor, a photo hangs. A little black girl, lifting her pant leg, saying nothing, because some stories don't need words. They need witnesses.